Welcome to Brainwaves and Breakthroughs.
Ever catch yourself doing something like, a little superstitious, like knocking on wood, even though, come on, it's kind of silly, right? Or maybe you avoid walking under ladders just in case. Well, today we're going deep, really deep, into superstitions. Those beliefs and rituals, those quirky things we do, even when, logic says, nope. We've got 3 sources to guide us to unpack all this. One looks at the psychology behind these beliefs, why we do them. Another takes us around the world exploring all these different superstitions. It's fascinating. And the third, this one's cool, it looks at how superstitions actually impact our well-being. So get ready for some aha moments because we're going beyond just what they are. We're diving into the why.
Yeah, it is fascinating how these beliefs, they can seem so illogical, right? But they're so universal. You find them, everywhere, across cultures, throughout history. And our sources, they suggest it all boils down to this human need, this deep need for control, especially, when we're faced with uncertainty.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. But how does that need for control actually play out, in our everyday lives?
Think about the anxieties we all face. Will I stay healthy? Will I have enough money? Will my relationships last? I mean, those are big questions. These uncertainties, they can be incredibly stressful. Superstitions, in a way, they offer a sense of, agency. It's like a way to feel like we're doing something, anything, to tip the scales in our favor.
So it's like knocking on wood. It's not really about the wood itself, right? It's more about that feeling of taking action, to ward off bad luck, almost like a little ritual to calm our nerves.
Exactly. And that action, however symbolic it might be, can actually reduce anxiety. It introduces this sense of order, of predictability into situations that feel chaotic or stressful. It's like creating this little mental comfort blanket.
This is making me think about, gosh, all those times I've caught myself doing something superstitious. I swear I hit the snooze button fewer times if I arrange my pillows just so. Is that really just my brain trying to create order in the chaos of my morning?
It's possible. And it's not just about seeking order. Our sources also point to the role of cognitive biases.
Yeah.
These are essentially their mental shortcuts. Our brains use them to process information.
Yeah.
And sometimes, they lead to some pretty irrational conclusions.
Cognitive biases. All right, break that down for me.
Well, one key bias at play here, a big one, is confirmation bias. Our brains, they love to find patterns and to confirm our existing beliefs, even when those beliefs are, based on, magical thinking. So we tend to remember the times our lucky charm worked and conveniently forget the times it didn't.
So it's like that classic example. People who believe in astrology, right? They'll point to all the times their horoscope was, spot on and ignore the times it was totally off.
Precisely. And then there's the availability heuristic. This is where we overestimate the likelihood of events that are easy to recall. Like if you just heard a story about someone getting in a car accident, you might suddenly feel more anxious about driving, even though statistically, your chances of getting in an accident, they haven't actually changed. It's vivid stories and images. They stick in our minds. They make certain events seem more likely than they actually are.
Yeah, I can totally see how that would feed into superstitions. If you hear a story about someone winning the lottery, after finding a 4-leaf clover, you might be more likely to start looking for clovers yourself.
Exactly. It's like our brains are telling us, hey, this could happen to you too. Okay. And those vivid stories, combined with our desire for control, it can be a potent recipe for superstitious beliefs.
So even when we know logically that a superstition is probably nonsense, right? Our brains they're playing tricks on us. They're cherry picking evidence to support the belief anyway. That's pretty amazing. It makes you wonder if our brains are so good at rationalizing these beliefs, maybe there's something more to them than we initially thought.
That's a great point, and one we'll definitely revisit as we dive deeper. But before we go there, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's explore just how diverse these beliefs can be by taking a trip around the world. Get ready to hear about some superstitions, some you probably never even imagined.
Oh, I'm ready. Let's do it. Okay, so boarding pass is ready because we're about to take off. A whirlwind tour of superstitions from around the world. This second source, it's amazing. It's like a travel guide to the weirdest beliefs. Seriously eye-opening.
Yeah. It is amazing how much these beliefs can vary from one culture to the next, but they all tap into that same basic human desire, I think, to make sense of the world, right? And to try to exert some control over our destinies.
All right, so first stop, let's start with a classic lucky charm. I bet most of us have seen this one, the Maneki Neko, from Japan, the beckoning cat, that adorable little cat figurine with its paw raised in the air.
Ah, yes, the mannequin echo. Believed to attract good luck and prosperity, which is why you often see it in shops and restaurants.
But where did this belief even come from? Did someone just randomly decide, like, hey, cats with raised paws, those are lucky?
Well, not quite. There's this one popular legend it tells of a wealthy man. He was caught in a terrible storm seeking shelter under a tree, and he noticed a temple cat beckoning him towards the temple. He followed the cat, and moments later the tree was struck by lightning. So from that day forward, the beckoning cat, well, it was seen as a symbol of good fortune.
Wow, that's incredible. It really shows how these beliefs, how they often spring from local legends, right? And cultural value.
Absolutely. And speaking of cultural variations, let's jump over to Russia, where you might want to think twice before whistling indoors.
Wait, really? Why is that?
Well, in Russia, whistling indoors, it's considered bad luck,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to finances.
Mm-hmm.
Some believe it can summon evil spirits or scare away the domovoi,
Mm-hmm.
which is a benevolent house spirit believed to protect the home.
So one culture sees a raised cat paw as lucky, and another sees whistling as inviting misfortune. It's amazing how different these interpretations can be.
It really highlights, the cultural lens, the lens through which we view the world.
Yeah.
What might be seen as a harmless action in one place,
Yeah.
right, can hold deep superstitious meaning in another.
Okay, this next one is from Brazil, and it's a bit more, well, tangible than a whistle. Have you ever heard of the Figa charm?
Yes.
Yeah.
The figa, it's shaped like a clenched fist with the thumb poking out between the index and middle fingers.
Right, right. I've seen them as little pendants or even carved into furniture. But what's the significance behind that gesture?
It's believed to ward off the evil eye
Mm-hmm.
and to attract good fortune. The figa, actually, it has ancient roots. It dates back to Roman times when it was known as the mano fico and used for protection against evil spirits.
It's fascinating how these symbols and beliefs, how they can travel across cultures and,
Wow.
and through time. It's incredible. Okay, let's hop over to India now. Have you ever noticed like strings of lemons and green chilies hanging outside homes or businesses?
Indeed, it's a common sight in India. They're believed to ward off the Buri Nazar or evil eye and to protect against misfortune. The lemon is thought to absorb negative energy, while the chili repels it.
So even everyday objects, right? Like fruits and vegetables, they can become like imbued with superstitious meaning.
Absolutely, and it's not just about the objects themselves, but the actions associated with them. For example, in Senegal, people they touch wood for good luck, similar to knocking on wood. In many Western cultures, the physical act of touching something solid, it's believed to ground the wish and make it more likely to come true.
Oh, I love that. It's like we're trying to physically anchor those good vibes. Okay, last stop on our whirlwind tour, Germany. What should we be careful of there?
Well, in Germany, when you clink glasses for a toast, right?
Yeah.
It's crucial. It's crucial to make eye contact with each person you clink with. Failing to do so, well, could result in 7 years of bad luck. Bad luck in love.
Whoa, that's high stakes for for a toast. It's incredible how diverse these beliefs are, from lucky cats to protective charms to the power of a simple whistle or even a glance.
And despite their variety, I think they all point to a common human desire, to make sense of the world, to try to influence our fate, and to find comfort in the face of uncertainty. It makes you wonder, what is it about our brains, that makes us so susceptible to these beliefs.
That's the perfect segue, actually, because our next source it digs into that, the fascinating psychology behind how these beliefs, how they take root, and how they impact our our actions, and even our well-being. Let's dive in. Okay, so this third source, it really gets into the nitty-gritty of like the psychology of superstitions and how they affect us, how they impact our well-being. It's one thing to know where these beliefs come from, right? And how they're different around the world, but now I'm curious, I really want to know, do they actually change how we think and behave, like for real?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the answer is, well, it's complicated. Our source explains that even when we, logically we get it, a superstition's probably nonsense.
Yeah.
There's a part of our brain that still kind of holds on to it. It's like our minds have these two modes, one that's quick, goes with gut feelings, and another that's slower, more logical.
So you're saying like superstitions, they come from that quick gut feeling part of our brain, even if the slower logical part, it knows better.
Exactly. And sometimes even when our logical brain's like, come on, this is silly, we still choose to go with that gut feeling. It's almost like this little internal tug of war going on. But here's the really interesting part. Research, it suggests that those gut feelings, those superstitious urges, they can actually have effects, measurable effects on our actions and even our mental state.
Wait, so you're telling me believing in like a lucky charm or something could actually impact how I do in real life? How is that even possible?
Well, remember that study we mentioned
Yeah.
about how positive superstitions, they can actually boost performance in tasks like golfing or memory games. It turns out that believing you'll succeed can actually make you more likely to succeed. These beliefs, they can increase self-confidence and reduce anxiety, which has this ripple effect, on our overall well-being.
So in a way, these little rituals and beliefs, even if they seem, irrational, they can be good for us. That's pretty wild. It's like tricking your brain into feeling more capable and less stressed.
It really is. And this ties into another point our source makes. Think about it. Cheap superstitions like knocking on wood or carrying a lucky penny, they tend to stick around because the cost is so low, right? While the potential benefit, it feels huge. It's a psychological bargain. Like, why not try it just in case it works?
Totally. It's like you're not risking much, but hey, if it helps you feel more confident or avoid bad luck, why not? But this brings us to a topic that needs a bit of sensitivity, the relationship between superstitions and OCD. I know OCD is a serious mental health condition, and it's important to distinguish it from what we've been talking about, which are generally harmless, these superstitions.
Absolutely. It's crucial to understand that while both involve rituals, they are distinct. Superstitions, they generally offer comfort and a sense of control, while OCD, it involves these intrusive, distressing thoughts and compulsive behaviors that can really significantly disrupt daily life. It's more like feeling compelled to wash your hands like 100 times a day, even if it makes you late or hurts your skin. Those urges, they feel uncontrollable, and they cause significant distress. So if someone's struggling with that kind of behavior, it's essential to seek help, to seek professional help.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's all about context, right?
Yeah.
A little superstition here and there, it might be, harmless or even beneficial, but if those rituals start taking over your life and causing distress, that's when it's time to reach out, to reach out for support.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance, between embracing the quirky things that bring us comfort, and recognizing when those behaviors might be signaling something more serious.
Well, this deep dive, it's been a roller coaster, seriously. So many fascinating insights. We've explored the psychology behind superstitions, the wild ways they show up around the world, and even their impact on our well-being.
It's incredible, isn't it, how these seemingly simple beliefs, they offer such a rich window, a window into human nature, our desire for control, our search for meaning, and maybe even our yearning for a bit of magic in our lives.
Absolutely. And while we may never fully understand the why behind these beliefs, I think it's safe to say superstitions they're going to stick around. They're going to be a part of the human experience for a long time to come.
Indeed.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we leave you with one final thought to ponder. Are superstitions, are they purely irrational, or could there be something more to these beliefs, something we don't fully understand? We encourage you to explore the source material yourself and draw your own conclusions. You'll find links to all the fascinating articles and studies we discussed in the show notes. Until next time, happy deep diving.